Funny enough, though, my favorite sport to watch has always been basketball. My favorite sport to play has always been football. I actually enjoy play significantly more than I enjoy playing basketball, and I enjoy watching football. And I enjoy watching basketball significantly more than I enjoy watching football. So that is when it comes to NFL or whatever. I think that I would enjoy a. I think I enjoy like a pickup football game, watching like a pickup football game more than I would enjoy watching a pickup basketball game. Because unless you're at a game where the people are like really, really good in basketball, not an NBA game, but like a pickup game where they happen to be really good in basketball, watching the average people play basketball is not really all that fun. Even watching average people play football is fun. They tackle and they hit. So that aspect of it makes it enjoyable. I think that's probably the reason why I liked football more than basketball, because in basketball, they call fouls. I mean, there's fouls. Oh, one moment. One moment. Apologies for that, by the way. I can't even say how long this is gonna be because I'm gonna hop off at any moment. Because right now I am, my plans for today before the game starts are to cover as many Instacart orders as I can. So if a good one pops up, I will be off this live in a moment's notice. Just to let y'all know. But anyways, what I was saying was I enjoyed playing football because of the fact that I could put my hands on people. Because I wasn't a fighter. I did get in some fights, but I was not somebody whose first resort was to fight somebody. Fighting was always either a last resort when somebody pushed my buttons long enough, or if I was defending myself. That was essentially that. Yeah, that was essentially that. Yeah, so I like football. It was so funny because in school I was just a quiet kid. I did not bother anybody. I did not pick fights with anyone. Like I said, I was willing to throw hands if somebody was coming for me, for sure. But I wasn't the person who was looking to do that. So when I got on the football field, I was a whole different animal. Not just as a kid, actually. I was in an adult flag football league when I was in my early to mid 20s. I was in a football league and a basketball league. I I miss being in that time period where I could do things like that. Like I would be in a whole basketball league that played on Saturday nights. Then Sunday morning I would get up and I'd be playing in an organized football game for a league. So I used to put my body on a hurting. And it would hurt for a couple of days. Like Monday and Tuesday, I would be in some serious pain at work. But then Wednesday, Thursday, probably by Wednesday or so, I wouldn't feel any pain anymore. And then Thursday, Friday, I would feel good. Saturday, Sunday, I'd put my body through that all over again. But I didn't look at it as putting my body through anything because I was 23, 24. You don't think of that when your body naturally is bouncing back on its own. My dad always said, you never start. You know what? I had two parents who were not fighters. My dad was somebody who believed that words could solve anything, and I don't know how, somehow that worked for him. People were intimidated of him just by the way that he spoke. I don't know how. Like, that wasn't the case for me. I didn't intimidate. Like, what I mean by people were intimidated by him is that, I mean, the words that he would use, people wouldn't put hands on him. And I'm like, I don't know if that's something that he got in Africa. Like, he learned, he learned some ways to make people too scared to fight you. But that was the case for him. But for me, it wasn't that. The only way that I stopped people from fighting me was fighting them. And then they would leave me alone because they're like, oh, this guy is tougher than I thought he was. Because when I grew up, I'm still not, I mean, I'm a strong person now, and I'm like, I go to the gym and stuff, but at the time I was 5'1", even less than that in elementary school, like 4'6", 7, 8, and skinny as ever, like small and skinny. And so people just assumed that I was one of those people that they could push around and bully around, and until they tried it, and then they were like, oh, this is not an easy target. I'm not saying that I went around like winning every fight. That's not even what I'm trying to say. Hi, Tasha. But what I am trying to say is that, especially when it comes to a bully does not have fun picking on somebody who puts up a fight. That's not even about like whether you win or lose. I just mean simply they have fun fighting somebody who doesn't fight back. So once they learn that not only do I fight back, but even if you do happen to beat me up, I was never beaten up. I'll put that out there. Like, nobody has ever beat me up. There's people who have won fights against me, like, you know, you got that, you won the fight, but they didn't leave without any kind of anything happening to them. So it was like, yeah, you could technically say I won, but the fight didn't end with me getting knocked out or stomped out or anything like that. It was just like, all right, the fight is over. You kind of edged me here, but let's just leave each other alone. My dad was not a... So that's the thing. My dad was not super calm and chill. He just did not believe in putting his hands on people. That's what I mean. Like, he had a temper on him. Like, he was always upset about something. And maybe the temper and maybe the way that he spoke made people think, oh, I don't want to mess with this guy because, you know, he could beat me up. But even all my uncles when they were alive, and, you know, my older cousins, because my dad was the youngest of 8, they were all like, he was the softest one. He never got any spankings, beatings from his parents. You know, my grandmother on my mom's side, on my dad's side, I'm sorry, my grandmother on my dad's side, who I never met, they weren't expecting to have him. Hold on. They weren't expecting to have him. I'm sorry for going on and off, but I explained this at the beginning. It is pre-Super Bowl, so I'm assuming that I'm going to get a lot of orders for wings, probably wings and beer and liquor. So I might hop off. I'm going to be hopping off very shortly, but I will probably be on and off throughout the day. Hi, kid. Kurt Choice. Yeah, he was not a fighter at all. And my uncles and my older cousins would laugh about the stories about him, especially my uncles, because my dad if you listen to the stories that he told, I think he told like third-party stories about what happened to his brothers and acted as if those stories were things that happened to him, which I thought is pretty funny. I believed all his stories. I believed all his stories about all these beatings that he got and all this different stuff that happened to him and from his parents when he was a little kid. But all of his siblings that I ever spoke to about him were like, oh no, your dad was the baby. You could just imagine a family of 8, right? 8 children. And this was the last one. And I believe that his mother was already in her 40s when she had him. So she was not expecting to even have another baby. Like, she thought the baby factory was closed. And then all of a sudden, oh, she gets pregnant and it's my dad. So at the ages my grandfather and my grandmother were at the time when he was born, and the fact that they had already dealt with 7 children, 8 technically, but 1 passed early. The fact that they had already fully raised 7 children and he was the 8th, you could just imagine that by then it was just like, oh, my little baby. Last children already are usually the ones that get spoiled, and the parents are like, oh, this is my last little one, and I'm gonna learn from the mistakes that I made with the other ones, type of thing. It's already usually that. Oh shoot, I think I went the wrong way. Yes, I did. It's already usually that, but imagine, like, by that point in time, first of all, it's like your siblings are gonna raise you. You have that many siblings, and the one that was probably the oldest one over him was probably, okay, my uncle was like 68 when he passed, and that was like early 2000s. He had to be 30 years. He had to be close to 30 years older than my dad. So my dad's oldest sibling was like almost 30 at the time my dad was born. And he had everything in between, like 20s, teenager. I think the closest one to him, he had a sibling that was probably like 5 years older than him, which they thought that one was going to be the last. But I think most of the rest of them were 10 plus. So the point of all that, I don't really know. My brother was the middle and was the spoiled one. The middle child, they usually say, is the forgotten one. So I wouldn't know because I only have one sibling, but it would seem that based on what I've heard, that your brother is kind of the anomaly. Because it's like, in a typical sense, the first one is the one that the parents are like fawning over. Hold on. Yeah. So I'm about my destination. I'm out here at Costco, because Costco seems to be one of the most profitable places to pick things up, especially Costco, the wine and liquor warehouse. They're the easiest because you don't even have to shop for very long. You just go in there, you get there 3, 4, 5 bottles at the most, and you're out of there in 2 minutes, depending on the line. So I have learned a little cheat code because I was like, it is not worth my time to spend an hour to an hour and a half in these grocery stores doing all this shopping, load up everything in the car, and then drive over to the destination, take everything out of the car, bring it to their doorsteps. I'm like, this is not worth it. So now I just go right to Costco, and we'll see what happens for the day. And then I'm going to be done around, I don't know, depending on how the day goes. My goal, though, is to be able to go from now until about 5 o'clock. So we'll see what happens. But thanks for jumping on. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And hit the notification bell to get notified when I drop some more great content. Thank you all.